I've read the various interviews you've already done for Variety and all. I mean, what has this couple of weeks been like for you?
That's a loaded question. Whoa, Kristen. Oh my goodness. Well, it's been a mix of shock, a lot of tears, excitement, and just I I feel like I've gotten to know so many new people over the past week and knowing that we all got to share in an experience together makes me feel I don't know, like it's like though I'm the one that obviously was in that role, it feels like we all were a part of that role. We all experienced that together. And so I feel this sense of community in a way that is quite lovely.
I mean, you are the breakout star, I think, of the movie. And I've talked to critics, my critic colleagues, even people that didn't like the movie, or like the girl who does the newscasting at the end, like she's fantastic. I,
Oh.
for a lot of people, I don't know if it's because we're so used to not, having a celebrity pipeline anymore. But I mean, is it surprising that, even critics that or audiences that don't like the movie are coming away loving what you're doing?
Wow. Well, surprising. I don't even know how to articulate it because I think at the end of the day, what that moment on camera taught me is that I think we just want to see something real.
Yeah.
And and when I watched it for the first time, I was sweating because I was like, though I was the NBC News anchor, all I saw up there was Courtney.
Yeah.
And I saw me actually breaking down. I
Yeah.
saw me falling apart. And that was the most raw and vulnerable that I think I have been on a set. And knowing that everyone was watching it at the same time, I kind of, I kind of like just got in my seat and I did a little bit of this because I didn't, I've never been exposed in that way. And just to know that I could express what truthfully was coming out and knowing that that's what people also want to feel too was was quite lovely and honestly has inspired me from the next opportunities that I get to say, okay, because there is something for me as I've been working through being an actor. When you're a journalist, you have a couple of layers in front of you.
Yeah.
And you need to have a couple of layers in front of you because people need to get information from you and they're entrusting you to give it. And you the person, you take a back seat so that way they get what they need.
Yeah.
As an actor, you got to take off all of those layers.
Yeah.
And through the past 3 years as working as an actress, it's like I've been trying to take off those those layers piece by piece by piece by piece. And I think this movie was the first time where I said, I've got no shield in front of me. My heart is out there. My soul is out there. And just seeing that people also felt in real time what I was feeling. There was nothing fake about that. I was deeply moved by what I was reading on the page. And so
I
yeah.
I think you've hit something on the head, which I think is why a lot of critics and entertainment journalists like myself are gravitating to your performance, is that we're kind of right now in this weird liminal threshold, right? As writers, where we're being told authenticity and being genuine is what you want, but you also have to impart information. You have to be honest, but we also want you want people to like you. And I know that when I was watching your performance, I was like, this is what everybody is, usually struggles with in that journalism to influencer kind of weird wibbledy thing that we're in right now. And I was like, she's conveying exactly the type of stuff, I think that we all like put a camera on us now and are trying to do the Zoom or trying to do the TikTok thing or the YouTube thing.
Right.
And I'm like, that's how you do it, and it's I think we're feeling seen in this moment of
Oh,
change.
then that's all that matters. That's all that matters to me. That's really beautiful because I hoped when I read it, I felt very seen as a former journalist. And so the fact that you're saying this as a journalist, that means everything. I'm so happy that you felt that way.
Yeah, what brought you to journalism? But before we get into the acting part, what
Yeah.
brought you to the journalism space? Because I do a column right now on the newsletter where this is going to go. It's called "Journalism is Fucked and We're All Doomed," and it's kind of talking about the changes that I'm seeing in journalism, and as we
Hmm.
kind of transition into this weird world of corporate consolidation and influencer culture that I'm always fascinated by what brings somebody into wanting to do journalism, whether it's now or 10 years ago. What brought you to the medium initially?
Yes. Oh, I mean, I love telling stories, and I specifically love telling other people's stories.
Yeah.
I really, and this is what's quite this is new for me when people are curious about my own story, because I love providing an opportunity to give a microphone to people whose voices deserve to be heard and asking questions of people who deserve to have questions asked of them, holding people accountable so that way the collective can feel seen and known. That has been inside of me since I was very young. And so getting to step inside of the shoes of a journalist, I started in college. And I mean, quite young. I mean, I think I was, yeah, like 21, and I
Yeah.
was already, I mean, this is, I haven't told this story, but it is so, you start to think about like how you really started.
Right?
And I remember I was in school, and somebody at a news station that I ended up starting my career at, they were like, "You can come in and you can shadow," because I just wanted to learn. And so I came in and I was shadowing, and I was sitting with some reporters and watching them write these scripts, and the news director eventually pulled me in. I had been like there the whole day, and he eventually pulled me into his office, and he said something along the lines of, "What are you doing here?" was like, I said, "I just want to learn." And he basically insinuated it's like, okay, but like I'm not gonna like give you a job, you know?
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so he was so gracious to allow me to just stay and learn. And eventually I started shadowing the Weekend Reporter, and then and with possibilities of taking on that position, and then an opportunity for me to be able to start as a morning live shot reporter happen. And so the story of how things became, it was just because I'm so curious.
Yeah.
I'm always so curious about people and why, what are we doing? And I have that's, I got a master's in psychology a couple years ago because I just wanted to understand more of people and how I can relate to them, and how we relate to the world. And so that journey, I mean, in a way, it kind of found me, and
Yeah.
and it resonated with my soul in that way. And so I went through years, and I think something to note is journalism was one of the most fulfilling and wonderful seasons of my life. I mean, being able to advocate for people is a deep honor.
Yeah.
And also with that, my heart also really was being pulled to tell stories in a different way. So yeah, my final role in news was years ago, and I think it was around 2018, and then I became an interviewer and a
Mhm.
full-time uh, host for live streams and on stage. And so both of those like timelines were, just like one thing after another. They just kept like bringing me to the next step,
Yeah.
like leaving something, and then I became something else, and it was getting closer and closer and closer. And then 3 years ago when I was hosting and doing the interviewing, that was that defining moment. That was the pinnacle where everything changed, and my eyes opened up, and I got very honest with myself. And here we are. And I say here we are, but these 3 years I mean, I still have a lot to learn. I have a lot to learn. But I've learned a lot from some really wonderful people who've just taken me under their wing. Because when you start in any career later, you feel like you're at the back of the race.
Right?
And so it's just like you're just trying to catch up. You're just trying to catch up, and so a lot of people have been so wonderful to help give me tools to, you know, not I wouldn't say catch up because again, there's a lot for me to learn, but just to feel like I can step into each opportunity with the tools that I need.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting kind of looking at your career trajectory because I'm seeing again there's so much overlap I think that is slowly happening and I don't think the industry is really caught up or kind of figured out where they want to go with, influencers. Are they journalists? Are they marketers? Are they
Sure,
actors? What is the role of journalism? Do we need to have on camera? So there's a lot of redefinition of roles I think that is
sure,
happening.
sure,
For you, what I think acting is one of those, much like journalism, right? Where it's like everybody says they can do it, but to actually take that step and say, I'm going to do it, is often the thing that separates the wheat from the chaff.
Mhm.
For you, what made you make that decision? Like journalism's been great, but now I want to pivot to this.
Yes, I wanted to act since I was a very young child. I'm sure that I don't know if you've read this the story, but I auditioned for a church play when I was in elementary school, and I had probably three sentences to just read,
Yeah.
and it was in front of my face. Like they were like, you can hold it. You can even hold it and you can read off the page. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't get through the lines. I was stuttering. I was so nervous. And so at that moment, I made a decision and I was like, I'm just not an actress. And even though I did high school musicals, that was still very much this is just temporary. I'm getting
Yeah.
to play in the sandbox, but I was invited in for a little bit, but then I need to pull myself back out because I know this isn't where I belong. And so I think just with time when you go through life and you experience things, I do believe the inner child is always speaking to us. And I believe it always, if you give it room to speak, it has a lot to say.
Yeah.
And I think for the first time, when I was doing the live stream hosting and stage hosting and interviewing full time, I had a lot of margin more so than I had when I was a journalist because when you are a news anchor, I mean it's 24 hours a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Though you're not maybe on camera, it's 24 hours that you're either there and reporting on the news or you're at home and you're researching for the next
Yep.
day.
Always looking
And
at the next big,
always
big
looking at the next
story.
thing. That is your job. And that next season of life that I took when I was doing more exploratory work, when I was sitting down with people, when I was interviewing them, a lot of people I was interviewing about their passions and their dreams and hosting, events that talked about people finding their purpose made me really have to ask that of myself. It
Yeah.
gave me space. And I had a great mentor who was coaching me up as an interviewer at that time. And he alongside there were little breadcrumbs. I was starting to speak about like I would love to act, but it was a very quiet, like, and there was a mentor who looked me dead in the face. And as he was coaching me, he said, "You don't want to do this." And I said, I do. And he said, "What do you actually want to do?" And his specialty was being able to pull people's purpose out of them. Like that is just his gift. And so he sat down with me and I just poured it all out and I said, I want to act. And we put it on a dry erase board. He was up there putting things on the board and he looked at me and he said, you got to do this. You got to
Yeah.
go. And he said, and I really think you can. He said, I've never seen you act before in my life. but I really think you can. And so I just think over time, there's been little opportunities of somebody speaking something over me or there being a little bit more margin for me to just think. And then obviously that inner voice that started to just yell, yell, and then say, if you're not going to do it now, then when are you going to?
Yeah.
Will you ever? Will
Yeah,
you
I
ever?
mean, journalism is one of those where, I right now I see so many people pivot out of it out of necessity. like they have to, the work's not there, they have to make money, they have to,
Right.
feed themselves, and me, I'm like, I'm in a position where, I keep doing it, but like you're saying, you're always kind of looking at what other people are doing and how they're pushing stuff, and I definitely am still kind of at that point, like I'm still doing the work, but I'm like, how
Yes.
can I kind of pivot and make it so that I'm the one doing the work, but also, talking the talk,
Yes.
which is, I think, such a unique kind of time that we're in
Yeah.
with the job changes and everything. I mean,
Hmm.
playing a part like this, were there is there something that you learned in your journalistic background or interviewing that you applied or found was more challenging doing journalism than acting it out in the film?
So you mean repeat that last part. I want to make sure I heard it
Sure. So
right.
I guess it's a twofold question that I
Hmm.
very inelegantly blended into one.
No, it was great. Great.
I mean, is there anything you've applied from your journalistic time, or interviewing that you applied to this performance? And what was the biggest challenge of,
Mm.
doing what you're doing in the film versus if you were doing that, just reporting in your journalistic background?
Yes, great question. I will confidently say if I was not a journalist before this, and also if I wasn't an actor for the past 3 years, I would not have been able to do this.
100, I
I
agree
would
with you.
not
I
been
think
able to do this.
it's that blending, it's that dovetailing.
It is a blending because knowing that David Kep gave such a beautiful script where journalists, I felt very seen reading those pages, that 2-page monologue in a way that I hadn't felt seen in a, well, I wouldn't say never felt seen, but just it in a way
It's a different
it was
vibe.
different. I couldn't put my finger I can't put my finger on it. It was because it was a weaving in and out of being a human.
Yeah.
It was being the authority and being the human, being
Yeah.
the authority, being the human. And you're just going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And that is exactly what it feels like as a journalist. When you are reporting on something that is life altering, though I haven't experienced something that is life altering from a global level, I've
Sure.
experienced things, reporting on hurricanes that could be life altering for those who are impacted by it. There is this real time, okay, I'm the authority, I'm the calm and the chaos, but also I am scared out of my mind right now. And I'm worried for my family right now. But you know what? I got to put that behind me and I got to make sure that you feel safe and that you have the information that you need for your family. And so both of those things combined when it came to understanding more of the human experience as a whole, being an actress has allowed me to explore that so much more. I feel it's rich, man, getting to be an actor. It's just rich. You just sit inside of the shoes of people in a way that you've never I never would have been able to.
Yeah.
And being able to have that skill set of just simply even breaking down a scene, being able to analyze a script. If I wouldn't know what to do with that if I didn't have coaches in this acting realm and if I hadn't been on multiple sets before that gave me the familiarity of that while also having the familiarity of saying, okay, this is this is a journalist role and I can sit behind this anchor desk and feel quite literally anchored to this material.
Was that all, did that require multiple takes? How long did it take you to do that whole sequence?
Yes, what was so cool was that originally it was going to be one day. And so I came in and they were shooting 2 scenes simultaneously. So the
Hmm.
scene in the control room where they're like, there's a lot more footage
Yep.
coming and back and forth. And like what's really cool, I haven't told anyone this, but when somebody is talking in the microphone saying like, hey, we're gonna take like, I'm here. I was actually hearing that in my
Oh,
ear. It
cool.
was so it was real. That's
Yeah,
literally
yeah,
what
it's
happened
that
in the
live
news.
real time, like, yeah,
Oh, it was
directing.
so fun. I have never been able to do that on a set as a journalist before. So it felt so real. So knowing that we were shooting those scenes simultaneously, they were getting that coverage for that scene but my mic was muted. And then they opened up my mic and then we did my focus audibly. And so that it took, you know, it, It's like it took a moment, but it felt like a vapor, and it also felt like an eternity. You know when you're sitting in this weird moment where it doesn't feel nothing feels real, but
Yeah.
everything feels real. That's how it felt. So I can't tell you how long I was on set that day. Everything was just euphoric, and I felt like I was outside of my body. But what was really sweet about that is I got a call a couple of days after that, and they invited me back to set to then, explore some more things within the scene, and that final take, if you're watching this, if you're seeing this, you are not alone. We got
Mhm.
that on the final day. I think we did that maybe in 3 takes. And
Wow.
Steven Spielberg had a vision for it, and I'm just so honored that I was able to help execute it and bring his vision to life.
Is everything on the page for you? Did Spielberg have notes about how he wanted you to play the scene, or was it just everything is in David's script?
A lot of it was in David's script, and I'm so grateful because, yeah, he obviously the words, and then he
Mhm.
had a lot of these stage notes that I saw. Oh, okay, that's what you want me to do. Ah, she's moved by. Oh, whoa, this is juicy.
Yeah.
This is
You're going
fun.
through like every emotion,
Yes, he helped
in
guide. Yes, so
yeah.
he was a great guide in knowing what I made assumptions about what they wanted because I hadn't spoken to them before. Even I did that first take.
Mhm.
So that script, when I knowing that we got it, meant that the script was exactly what it needed to be in order for somebody to be able to decipher. So yeah, and then the second day, it, it was Steven Spielberg was giving me a couple of things to explore. Even the last line, I did a take, and I said, if you're watching this, if you're seeing this, you're not alone. And he came in and he said, I want you to say, you are not alone. And I said, this is why he is the greatest.
Why he's
Every
Spielberg.
word matters. Every word matters. The
Yeah.
specificity of what he pulls out of a moment is magical.
Did he know you had a journalistic background? Was he looking for somebody with a journalistic background when he was
They
casting the role?
did. They did know that. I sent them my anchor reporter reel,
Mhm.
and then I had a separate audition. I auditioned for something else entirely, and then this role they reached out to. So I technically didn't audition for this role, but because of whatever they saw from my materials, and this is where Cindy Tolan and Steven Spielberg are the greats because they knew exactly what they needed, and
Yeah.
they entrusted that the decision that they made was going to get them the results that they wanted. And so I'm so amazed by them. I mean, I'm so amazed. I'm so impressed. I can't even say I'm impressed. It's just like, of course I'm impressed. They're Cindy Tolan and Steven Spielberg. It's just
Yeah.
like it
Oh
just
yeah.
is.
They're
They just
titans.
are.
They're titans.
They just
Exactly.
are.
I mean, for somebody that wants to be an actor or hell wants to be a journalist in this current
Yeah.
landscape that we're in, uh, advice. What are some things you recommend or advice
Oh,
you have that you would want to impart from some or even somebody that's transitioning from journalism into
yeah.
acting or a different field?
I love it. I'm always this gets me so excited because I hope
We're
my
all in the boat
story.
together,
We
so
are. We really are. We really, and I think I hope that my story can help people know that it is possible.
yeah.
Whatever they want to do, it is possible. Like, I'm sorry, if somebody says to you, it can't be done, it's too late, you're too old, but no, no, it is possible. So that's the first thing that I would tell an actor or an actress is if you got the dream, then go after it with everything that you have. And don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it. And then the next thing is you you got to get the right people to help you get there. Like I said, in my mind, well, not in my mind, I didn't know anything. Like I didn't know, I don't know if you know what a slate is. I didn't know what a slate was 3 years ago. Okay. I didn't know that what the thing is that you say, hi, my name is Courtney Grace
Yep.
and I'm 5'5". Didn't know what that was. When I say I started from scratch, I started from scratch. And
But people
fortunately, I had people
People
who
don't
helped me.
understand that, whether it's journalism or acting, like you can't Google that. I think that's the thing that we're in right now. I mean, you've seen
Yeah,
both sides as well as I have, I think, which is it's a craft. Writing, journalism, acting, those are crafts. Those things can't be
yes,
replaced by AI. They
right,
can't be,
right.
it's a learning curve. And I think that that's where we're at right now, where people
Yeah.
struggle to enter into that. If it's too daunting, they retreat.
Right. And you know what? It's piece by piece.
Yeah.
So if you would have told me, "Hey, you have 3 years to get yourself ready." Well, actually, 2 years because this is I'm now in year three, but I filmed this year two. You have 2 years to get ready because you're going to be working with Steven Spielberg. I would have lost it. I mean, I would have been paralyzed. I wouldn't have known what to do. Analysis paralysis. So but what I did, it's piece by piece. You just take the next right step. You get into the next right class. You find the next right coach. You get the next right audition and you just keep doing it piece by piece by piece. And I think where a lot of us can become we can stop and not take another step forward is because we think that it's way too grand. Where do I even begin? You just begin where your feet are planted and you just take that next step. That's all you're accountable to do. That's all you can do. And you do the best job with what you're given right in front of you. People ask me with this, I can't remember the exact question, but it came, what were you thinking? And, what are you thinking with all of this? And I said, in that moment when I was on that set, I wasn't thinking about what was behind me. I wasn't thinking about what was in front of me. I was thinking about what seat I was in right then. And I was just accountable to do the best job that I could right then. And
Being
right now,
present.
I'm trying to be all I'm accountable to right now is to be present with you and try to articulate my words as best as I can. And and that's all that we can do. That's all that we can
Yeah.
do. So I hope that I hope if whoever's listening or watching or reading this, I hope you go for it. Whatever it is, I hope you go for it. I'll be cheering you on.
100%. You're speaking to something that I think journalists and actors can both learn because with so many different distractions and so many things that, especially I think on the journalism side, being told you have to be a multi-hyphenate. I mean, actors too also are told,
You
you
do.
need to do everything. I
You
think that
do.
focusing on one thing, it's why I continue to show for the written word. I'm like, I love video. I think video is great. I'm like, but I will always be a better writer than I
I
will
love
be
that.
an editor or something to do make a video look good, although this video will look good, but it's not my wheelhouse. It's something I've had to learn later, in the times that we're in. So
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
Courtney, oh my gosh, it's been such a pleasure to get to nerd out with you about this
You
movie, about
too.
journalism, all of
Ah,
this stuff.
do. And
I
thank
mean,
you for what you do. Thank you for what you do.
of course,
Journalism is a tough, tough job, and it
getting
is
tougher.
and the people that are in it, you guys are magic. You guys give your you I could go on and on and on. I know the sacrifices that you make in order to give people what they need to know. And I
And
just want to say thank you.
uh, I think in entertainment too, it's the interrelationship. Entertainment journalism, it's considered fluffy. It's considered simplistic. I'm like, but getting to talk to
No.
somebody like you about the journey and how film impacts society, and what something like this movie says about where we are in our current times. I mean,
Yeah.
it's why entertainment journalism and film just they've always worked so well together. So I try to
Yeah.
keep banging my drum
Keep
for
doing it. Keep doing it,
so
Kristen.
where are you on the internet, social media, in case people want to follow you and find out more about what you're doing?
Yes, I am on Instagram. It's Courtney Grace. Other than that, I'm not really on anything else. I tried TikTok and I was like,
Too
I'm on
much.
here too much. I gotta find one
Yep.
and I gotta stick to it. So Instagram is truly my only form
Cultivate
of
just
social
one really
media.
well, and that's really all
Right,
you need. So,
right, right.
and
Yes.
what's next after the disclosure day chaos ends? Where are you going from here?
I don't know. I don't know, Kristen. Like I said, one step at a time. There's uh we will see. My hands are open to receive, and I'm just looking forward to whatever's ahead, just with anything that's ever come out, any film or any television project or anything that I've done. It's just my hands are open and I'm just full of gratitude for what's to come.
I
So
love
you
it.
and
Well,
I will
you
both explore that together.
exactly. You got a bunch of crusty critics, to fall in love with your performance. So I
Oh,
think you've accomplished something pretty awesome. So